Okay, my question is about the difference between the law of attraction to intuition. The circumstance is that I feel things and I say them out loud because I feel it intuitively, and then it happens. But it's different from when I am asking for something and then it comes. It feels different.
Well, law of attraction is the basic, essential, only thing worth talking about law of the universe. In other words, law of attraction is what matches up frequencies. So once you focus upon something and you stay there for a little while, momentum begins to happen. And the more momentum happens, then the more it plays out in manifested ways. So that inspiration or that intuition that you're talking about is part of that momentum that happens because of law of attraction. In other words, when a thought occurs to you, we've been explaining that your vortex is this vibrational reality, and that when you practice a vibration of feeling good that matches what's in your vortex, then ideas begin to flow to you. Ideas begin to flow to you. And as the ideas flow, the other day, Esther was at her daughter's house. It was on Christmas Eve day. And they were cooking. They were making some pies because they were going to cook dinner the next day. And so they were doing the preliminary cooking the day before. And then Esther was finished with what she needed and had planned to spend the night there, and then was going to get up and have Christmas with them and cook more the next day. And Esther kept getting this feeling, I should go home for a little while. I should go out to the property. And then she would reason with herself, well, there's no reason for me to go home. Everything I need is here. There's no reason for me to go home. And so she'd go on with the next thought, and then the thought would occur to her again. Really should go out to the property. And so finally she said, I think I'm just going to go home for a little while. Why? I don't really know. I just feel like I want to go home. So she went out to the property and was just sort of shuffling around, trying to figure out why she was there, looking for something to do. And she found something in her house that she thought really should be over at the office. It's all on the same property. Now, this is really silly. In other words, it had been there a while. It certainly didn't need to be over there. But now Esther's got this very powerful impulse to take it over there. She didn't know why, even felt silly doing it. So the buildings are all locked up, and so she's digging her drawer, looking for the key to get in the door, to put that where she wants it to go. And the whole time she's sort of asking herself, what's this about? And when she gets over there, a dear friend of hers who lives on the property, is one of the maintenance people, was there. And she saw him and she said, how are you? Fine. What are you going to do tonight? Oh, nothing. Christmas Eve. What are you going to do tomorrow? Oh, nothing. And she said, well, come with us. We're going to go to Wildfish tonight. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have a bunch of people tomorrow to have dinner. Come with us. And so, of course, he said yes. And then she knew why she had to be on the property. In other words, broader perspective, who knows everything, who knows what Esther wants. Esther would have been very upset to find out after the fact that this dear friend was by himself for no reason. It had not occurred to her that he would not be, but his family had all gone elsewhere and he was on his own. Well, that's an impulse. That's because what was in her vortex called her. And so, and because she was in that high-flying place, so you're all of the time, you're getting impulses, but so often you override your impulses with logic. But the more you are on this high-flying disc, and the more you have experiences where the impulse, even though the answer to the impulse doesn't show itself to you immediately, eventually it does. After a while, you begin to trust your impulses. And even further, you begin to understand the momentum from which the impulse has come. In other words, there are all kinds of vortices out there. In other words, you can be worried about things and creating vibrational realities which you will feel impulses to play out too. In other words, there are impulses that serve you in positive ways, and there are impulses that serve you in negative ways, that don't serve you in negative ways. But once you're consciously aware of this, you get so that you can feel what the content of the emotion is leading you to. It makes sense to you, doesn't it? You've had enough experience to know exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was non-physical, though, that was talking to me.
It is.
Oh, okay. So I'm all right.
Oh, it clearly is. In other words, Jerry, for sure, was watching in on all of that. He was helping to make the pies. He was excited about stuffing the turkey. He was excited about everybody that was going to be there, and he wanted Luis to be there too. In other words, it's
okay.
That's the point that we're making. You are not on your own. You are never on your own. You think you're on your own. You are never on your own. Source energy, everyone that you have ever known, all that is good and all who know you and all of that knows you, is all working, orchestrating, assisting, helping you to get to... You see, where you stand is where you stand, vibrationally, where you are. What you want is what you want and where it is. Your source knows where you are in relationship to everything you want and is guiding you to the degree that you let it in all day, every day. And why don't you let it in? You're ornery. Why don't you let it in? You're guilty. Why don't you let it in? You're mad at somebody. Why don't you let it in? Well, stop it. In other words, it's all around you all the time. All of these resources there for you to the degree that you will allow yourself to receive the impulse. But for a while, before you get any consistent impulses, you got to just feel good for no good reason. We know it's a horrible price to pay. You just got to feel good because you want to feel good. And when you want to feel good enough to find a way to feel good, pretty soon you're feeling good more of the time until you are dominantly feeling good. And when you're predominantly feeling good, then and so we loved your opening question. What's the difference or the distinction between law of attraction and this inspiration? We say the inspiration is the momentum caused by law of attraction. If you allow the momentum, if you're saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, want it, can't have it, want it, can't have it, want it, can't have it, the momentum never gets going. But if you're saying yes, 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 before you know it, the impulse, those yes impulses just come to you. And you find yourself always in the right place at the right time. The seas just part for you. Traffic is not a problem for you. Parking places are opening for you. This is just the beginning of your alignment. Rendezvousing with people, hearing things, seeing things, driving down a freeway, not seeing any sign except the one that matters to you. Impulses, inspiration, guidance.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
This is for my husband because he tells me that when I joke, because I'm a jokester, that can create law of attraction too. Because I can say, like, for example, I said a long time ago that, I wish I could be sick so I could be skinny. Well, I got an illness that made me sick and skinny. So,
well, so from that experience, he comes to a conclusion that is not valid. And here's what is valid. The universe does not hear what you say. The universe hears what you mean.
Yeah. So if I joke,
your words are how many? Jerry Nestor's books are now translated into over 30 languages, and she can only hope that they say what she thinks they say. Some of them don't. In the translation, there's so much going on. The universe is not speaking language. The universe understands vibration. The universe hears what you mean.
So if I'm really joking and don't feel
you're really
it's
joking,
just gonna go.
Yeah.
But if I
but if you're not joking, if you're just trying to cover up how you really feel with funny, yeah, that's different. And sometimes he's right and sometimes he's wrong, and mostly he's wrong about that.
Awesome.
Enough?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.